loves, what's popping up? Hope Mother Nature is treating each and every one of you right. I'm back your way with good vibes, good energy, tips and tricks, easy ways and better skills. That will help level up and revolutionize your fashion skills. So, all I want you to do now is to take a chill pill, stay, and keep watching to the end of this video. Kindly take a critical look at this beautiful apparel you're seeing on your screen right now. Today, I'm gonna be showing you how to make this dress on your own. Even if you've never sewn in your life before, after watching this video, you'll be able to achieve exactly what you see on your screen right now. It's an A to Z content, okay? It includes the drafting, the cutting, the stitching, the styling, the designing, and the fitting. There is also a short video, yet very informative. It is packed with a lot of spices, juices, better and easy ways of sewing. Before we start, you can subscribe to the channel and be part of this wonderful family, okay? We teach everything sewing and fashion. Let's start our ball rolling. These are the very measurements we shall be needing for this tutorial. First thing first, let's say you're a beginner, you've never sewn before and you want to sew this dress. Now we must critically look at the style first before going ahead to even start everything. Looking at this dress, it's a straight dress, but for us to be able to achieve this same design, we cannot sew it right away straight. We must divide it into two parts. It has a lower part and the upper part. So the lower part is a skirt part and the upper part is a top part, okay? We are going to be making the top and the skirt and we'll join it together to be able to achieve this same design on the screen. Therefore, we can't go straight away to make a straight dress. This is because this dress has a very special part, which is making it impossible to be able to go ahead and draft a straight dress. In this content, I would like us to start drafting the down part, which is the skirt part, before moving to the upper part. Now, even when we come to the skirt part, it's also divided into two main parts, which is the back and the front. So we shall be starting our drafting from the front. For us to start drafting from the front, we must fold our fabric into two. This is because whatever measurements we are going to be putting, it will be divided into four. Two for the front and two for the back. For that matter, we need to fold our fabric into two. I hope that is clear. Alright, let's move on. This is the fabric piece I'm going to be using. We shall be needing 3 yards for this dress, okay? Depending on your body size. So my fabric is already on fold. On the top part of this fabric piece, I shall be drawing an horizontal line. This is going to be my waistline. This is because our skirt starts from the waist. And this is where we shall be inputting all our vertical measurements from, okay? To start inputting our measurements, we have vertical and horizontal measurements. The vertical measurements are the ones in length, and the horizontal measurements are mostly those in circumference, okay? Therefore, the first measurement to always input is your vertical measurement because they will show you where to go ahead and input all your horizontal measurements. Without vertical measurement, there is no way you'll be able to input your horizontal measurements. Okay, let's go ahead and place our tape rule on our fabric, starting from the waist point. Now the next point I'm going to be marking is my hip point and my knee point. We'll move our tape rule to the other side of the fabric to mark those same points over there. This will help us to be able to square out all the points. So I'm going to be squaring out all the lines that we've marked already. That is not all. Now the next thing we need to do is to determine the length of the skirt. Determine the length of the skirt. I'm going to be placing my tape rule from the waist point, mark the length of the skirt, and I shall be squaring that up using my rule as well. The next step for us to undertake is to input our horizontal measurement now. We're going to be inputting our horizontal measurement on the vertical point we've already drawn out, okay? With our horizontal measurement, because of the folding of our fabric and how we've divided the fabric for the back and the front, we need to always divide all our circumferences into four. When I say circumferences, I mean the round measurement, like your hip round, your knee round, in those stuffs, okay? We need to always divide them by 4 for us to get the accurate measurement after combining all the pieces together, okay? Okay, now let's go ahead and start. On our waist point, we need to input our waist circumference. So we need to divide our waist circumference by 4. So when you hear me say quarter of the waist circumference, I mean dividing your waist circumference into 4, okay? Now there's a trick I'm going to be showing you right here. Please take good note of what I'm going to be sharing with you, okay? The normal skirt we all know, we normally give it like that. But guys, trust me, it's not all the time you need to give that to your skirts, okay? Whatever skirt it is. Because each fabric and each styles will tell you whether you should go for a dartless skirt or a skirt with a dart. So there's something called dartless skirt. You don't give it a dart, but you still need to contour the skirt. You still need to contour the skirt to be able to achieve that shape you need for it to relax on your customers. Do you get that? All right, I know you are getting me, right? All right, let's continue. Now, if you don't want to give a dart, sometimes there are some styles I just decide not to give them darts. I go the dartless way. Sometimes some darts will just kind of and giving you some bulginess at the lower hip area, below the abdomen, in those styles. So sometimes I ignore the darts and go ahead to make a dartless skirt, okay? What you need to do is, for your hip measurement, that's where the changes is gonna come from. Only the hip measurement, not the whole skirt. For the hip measurements only, you need to divide your hip circumference by 2. After dividing your hip measurement into 2, that means one part is for the back and the other part is for the front, okay? Now let me cite an example. Let's say if your hip circumference is 40 inches, you're gonna divide it into 2. That will give you 20, which means 20 for the back and 20 for the front, okay? But because of the contour nature we want to achieve, and because we want to choose the dartless formula, you need to subtract at least 0.5 inches to as much as 2.5 inches, depending on the bottle size of your customer, from the front circumference. So the front circumference is also 20 inches. So I'm going to be using 1.5 inches. So let's go by that. If I subtract 1.5 inches from the front circumference, which is 20 inches, that will give me 18.5 inches for the front. But what I've subtracted, I'm not going to be throwing it away. I have to take it to the back. Remember, our back is more protruding, so we need to create space. We need to create room and space to be able to accommodate the bottles. So we are taking that 1.5 inches to add up with the 20 inches for the back, okay? So now we subtract 1.5 inches from the front. The front will be what? 18.5 inches. That's what we're going to be marking. And we will take that 1.5 inches to the back. The back will now become what? 21.5. Is that clear? So we're going to be marking 21.5 for the back and then 18.5 for the front. That is all you need to do at this point to create a contour nature to be able to accommodate the shape and the buttocks of your customers. Now on the hip line, we need to divide that 18.5 inches into 2. This is because our fabric is on fold. If it was an open fabric, then we could go ahead and mark that straight, but it's on fold, so we need to divide it into 2. So that way, when we open it up, it will sum up to our 18.5. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing at the hip area. When you are done marking, always remember to add your allowances, whether 1.5 inches, 1 inches or 2 inches allowances. Always remember to add your joining allowances. Next, let's move to our knee line. For our knee line, you could go ahead and measure your knee circumference and put it right there. Or better still, take out 1 inch from what you've marked from your hip circumferences, and that will become your knee circumference. If you want it so loose, you could go ahead and add. If you want it so tight, you could go ahead and subtract. With the help of our ruler and the hip cape, let's go ahead and join all these points together. For the full length of the skirt, I'm going to be inputting the same measurement I inputted at my knee line at the hem of the dress, okay? So knee line length is the same as the full dress line length. Let's join the full length point to the knee length point to get a complete line. And we're going to be going ahead to cut all this out. Cut. The front part of this skirt is ready. Let's go ahead and draft the back part of this skirt. This is the fabric piece I shall be using. It's already on fold. Before we even start drafting the back piece, I want to explain something to you. The back and the front are not the same. There are 3 major differences between the back and the front. The first difference is we're going to be adding zipper allowances at the center back so that we can be able to attach a zip to this skirt. We don't attach the zip to the front, we attach it to the back. So we must add extra allowances for the zip. Secondly, we will also need to factor in that 1.5 inches we subtracted from the front at the back. And the third thing is the back and the front center contour. Don't worry about this last one I just mentioned. You will understand it better as we move on. I'm going ahead to mark my zipper allowances plus that 1.5 inches allowances I will need for the back contour at the center back of my skirt. So I'm going to be placing the first skirt. I'm going to be placing the front skirt on top of the back piece, making sure that it ends at that allowances. At the center back, I shall be marking that 1.5 inches right there at the hip line. Once I mark that out with the help of my rule and my hip curve, I shall be connecting that point to the waist point, to the knee point, and to the full length. That will now give me a different shape at the center back. Then I'll go ahead and add my zipper allowances. Let's now move to the side. At the side, I shall be cutting out the same shape on the back piece. And I shall continue to cut out the hem shape. Before I forget, let me go ahead and mark my zipper allowances. For my zipper allowances, I'm going to be using half an inch. So I'm going to be marking half an inch all around at the center back. And I'll go ahead and cut all the shape out. Let's continue to cut the lining part of this skirt. I shall be attaching a lining to this skirt. Today, I'm not going the usual way we all know. I want to do a different thing today. Purpose for going for this method today is to economize my lining piece. This is the lining piece already unfolded. Let's go ahead and place the fabric piece on top of the lining. The lining is actually about 10 inches shorter than that of the main fabric. This is another breast method you can employ so that your sewing will not just be one way. So I'm going to be tracing out the same shape on the main pieces on the lining. I shall be doing the same thing to both the front and at the back. Always remember to notch for easy identification, because after this shape, both the side back and the center back look similar. You need to make an indication. We're done with the back piece. Let's move to the front piece. Do the same thing right over there. So I'm cutting everything out just as we did for the back. Now, one other thing I want us to do is at the center front, we need to come down by 0.7 inches. And from that point, we're making a curved line to join with that of the waistline at the side front. This will kind of give curvy effects at the center front area, which will get rid of any folding or any bulging at the lower abdomen area when my customer wears this apparel. Now that we've done drafting and cutting for the skirt part of the dress, let's also go ahead and draft and cut for the top part of the dress. This is the lining piece I shall be using for this dress. I'll go ahead and draft wherever I needed to draft on the pattern paper straight away on the lining piece, and with that we could cut out on the main piece. Sometimes I just don't want to go to the extent of drafting on pattern paper, now bringing it and cutting and all those stuff. So most of the times what I do is I draft on my lining piece, take it to the main piece and cut. Always the price of a lining is cheaper than that of the main fabric, so if I make mistake on the lining, I can easily correct that before taking it to my fabric piece. This is the lining piece. It's already on fold. Now let's go ahead and draft. We are drafting the front part of the top part of the dress before we go to the back. Okay, stay tuned. Since the style is the body tube bustier, we want to determine the amount of flesh or the amount of cleavage you want to expose at the chest area. My customer wants me to expose about 5 inches up there. We shall also need half an inch for the joining allowance, since we're going to be joining this dress with a lining piece. Therefore, we can't take out exactly the 5 inches. We need to make it 4.5 inches. After using the half an inch for the joining allowance, everything will sum up to that 5 inches we're looking for. Therefore, let's start taking our measurement from that 4.5 inches. From that 4.5 inches, let's mark our bust point, our underbust point, and the waist point, which is also known as the half length of the dress. Let's take our tape rule to the other side of the piece to mark those same point over there for easy squaring. Once that was done, let's go ahead and square all the points out using our straight rule. The next line we are to determine is our chest line, also known as the armhole line. There are 3 different formulas to go about it. From your bust point, you could step up by 2 inches to 2.5 inches. Better still, you could divide your shoulder measurement into 2 and mark that, but in this our case, always factor in that 4.5 inches we took away. And the last formula is to divide your bust circumference into 6 plus 1.5 inches. So let's go ahead and determine our chest line right here, and we shall be squaring that out. Let's label all the lines for easy understanding and identification. So the first line is our chest line, our bust point line, our under the bust point line, and our waist point line. I hope so far the explanations are clear to you guys. Yeah, I know it's clear. You guys are very smart. Alright, let's continue. Next, we need to determine our bust span. Our bust span is from one nipple to the other nipple. The customer we are working for has the bust span of 4. We need to add half an inch because we shall be cutting out a special dart, and we need that half an inch to join the pieces together. So we must make it 4.5 inches. You need to mark it at the upper part and at the lower part, and you want to make a straight line through those points, and that is your bust span line. At the waistline, let's mark 0.7 inches towards the center front and 1 inches towards the side front. Let's move to the neckline. Mark the same 0.7 inches towards the center front and 1 inches towards the side front. At the bust point line, let's come down by 1 inches and go up by 1 inches. This is to make sure that there is no pointiness at the bust point area, and also to create more room to be able to accommodate the bust. From the point at the chest line area, I shall be connecting it using my rule to join with that 1 inches we came up by. Then I'll be joining it to the other side too. At the waistline, I'll connect that straight line to join with the underbust line, then make a curve to join with that of that 1 inches we came down by. I will do same to the other side of the piece, and I'm going ahead to blind everything out. Look at the shape. The shape is already formed. Let's wait and see the outcome. The outcome is very important than even the beginning. Continuing, let's go ahead and input all our horizontal measurements. For our horizontal measurement for the bust point, let's divide our bust circumference into 4. Mark that at the bust point, bring it to the chest point, and mark the same there. At the chest line, we need to measure that dart allowance and add that. Looking at the bust point line, there's no allowances in between there, so that part is safe. Now let's move to the under the bust line. We need to divide our under the bust circumference into 4. Mark that, measure the dart allowances, add that too. Move to the waistline. We divide our waist circumference into 4. Mark that, factor in the dart allowance as well, and that will be it. After adding all the dart allowances, let's go ahead and draw a straight line. CD, at this moment, let me take this opportunity to explain to you a very simple trick that you can add to your sewing skills if you don't know it already. Sometimes after putting in all your measurement, that's the bust line, the under the bust line, the waistline, the chest line, the points, they don't tally. If you mean to draw that shape out, everything is just going to be weird. I'm going to be showing you a very simple trick about it. In case you find yourself in such situation, what you need to do is, there are two main cardinal and very important points at this moment, which is the waistline point and the chest line point. Remember, the chest line point is the same as the bust line point. Okay, these are the main 3 important points. Make sure that your rule touches that of the chest line point and the waistline point. Then you draw a straight line. Don't mind the under the bust point line. Sometimes the shape will kind of give you a very weird shape. If you mean to follow it at the end of the day, you will end up having problems. But if you employ this method I'm just teaching you, everything will always come out perfect. Now the shape is out perfect. Let's go ahead and add our allowances. I want us to go for 2 inches allowances, so let's mark that, and after marking, we go ahead and draw a straight line through the points, and that is it for this part. Let's also create our armhole using our armhole curve. If you have any question or any design you want me to make a video on, or if you want me to mentor you for free, kindly send me a WhatsApp message on +233 550909 Let's continue to the center front area to determine the shape we want at that area. So at the chest line, I shall be coming up by 2 inches, and I'll be joining it to the dart line, and the shape is set for this part. Let's do the cut. When we are done, we have one last thing to do. Fellow sew-mate, fellow fashion designer, something little to share with you today. In this industry, it's all about creativity. There are so many ways of killing the cat. What you think you might know, somebody might know better. There are 1,000 ways to be able to achieve one style. Maybe the method you know, somebody might know the easiest way of achieving that same style. Why don't you look forward to learning something new each day? That is the reason why I created this channel, so that I can dish out to you some of the tips and tricks I know in fashion. You could also dish out what you know using the comment box and sending me a message for me to make a video on. We done cutting. Okay, let's do this last thing. At the bust line, I shall be coming down by 2 inches and I shall be connecting it this way. I'll cut through that line to the tip of the bust line and I shall be folding in that 2 inches this way. So I'm going to be squaring it with the pins, and once we're done, we realize that the shape has changed at the side front. So we need to redraw the shape. So I shall be putting in this other material under, and I'll be connecting a straight line from the chest line to the waistline to get that straight new line on the new fabric. Then I'll be cutting everything out. So this is actually my pattern, so I'll be taking it to the lining piece again to now cut out this exact perfect shape. So I'll be doing that. Let's do that now. Like I was saying, as a fashion designer who wants to get to the top there, when you come across any information, be it in a video format, in a text format, in an audio format that concerns fashion, make sure you read it, make sure you access it, make sure you listen to it. You don't know what you can be learning from it. Maybe at the beginning or at the intro, it might not sound nice to you, or you might think it wouldn't be relevant, but listen to it to the end and see. As they say, the sweetness is always at the latter. Listen to it to the last part, you might learn something new. That is my advice for you. I'm a fashion designer. I do well, but I still learn. You must learn. Learning is very important. Remember I said your knowledge is your power. Someone can run into your house, steal your car, steal your document, steal your property, and even steal all that belongs to you. But nobody can get into your head to steal the knowledge you have right there. It is yours. Knowledge acquired is yours and it's yours forever. No one can steal it unless you decide not to use it. And I know you guys use it. My camera disappointed me, so sorry for that. So I had gone ahead to cut the same thing on the fabric piece, and I've gone to join it together. I've also gone ahead to cut my padding. It's not a fusible padding, so I needed to join it together. Sorry for that, but I have a video on my channel actually explaining how to do all of this. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut all, join all. So I'm going to be placing them this way, and I'll be stitching. Card will be placed first with the fabric on top, and the last thing, the lining, making sure that the lining and the fabric right side are facing each other. So I'll go ahead to stitch from the armhole to the neckline to the other armhole, and this was the looking after I was done stitching. So let's turn it over to see what's up. This is the shape was given, everything was neatly finished. Also gonna ahead to do the knitting. So this is the skirt part. I attached the lining to the fabric. I didn't sew it, I just took it to the knitting machine and kneaded everything together. So the lining and the fabric are now one piece, and this is the top part of the skirt. So we are going to be joining it this way. This is the front piece of the top, and this is the front piece of the skirt. So this is how it's looking. I'm going to be joining it at the waistline. So this is the looking. Now let's move to the back part. This is the back part. I've also gone ahead to draft. Oh, my camera just disappointed me. I couldn't capture that. But this is the back piece, the back top and the back skirt. Also going to be placing it this way, and I'll be stitching. They are separate because I'm going to be attaching a zipper. They should be separated. So this is the looking also. So I've gone to join them together. I shall be attaching this zipper. It's actually a very long zip, an invisible zipper. This is how I'm going to be doing it. When I'm done attaching my zipper, I also go ahead and join the front and the back piece together. I already have numerous videos explaining this. That's why I'm a bit faster. This was the final look of my customer. It's so beautiful. She actually chose a different sleeve style for this dress. That's why the sleeve is not same. Apart from that, I think she was okay with all other things. It's fitted there. Thank you for